I watched my brother pocket $847,000 from selling our childhood home while Dad was dying in the ICU. 2 months later, I owned his house, his car, and his dignity. But that's not even the worst part. Here's how I made sure he got exactly what he deserved. But first, let me tell you how this nightmare started. My brother Mac had always been perfect. 3 years older, successful real estate agent, married to his college sweetheart Emma with 2 kids. We'd grown up together in Ohio in this beautiful colonial that Dad bought in 1987 when he started his plumbing business from nothing. Dad was everything to me after Mom died when I was 12. He never missed a parent-teacher conference, learned to braid my hair from YouTube, and sat through every terrible school play like I was performing on Broadway. "This house built our family," he'd say every Sunday, making blueberry pancakes in the kitchen he'd installed himself. "Every nail I hammered was for you and Mac. This house will take care of you both when I'm gone." I worshipped that man. Everything shattered the day Dad collapsed at Home Depot. Massive heart attack. For 3 weeks, he hung on in the ICU while Mac and I held vigil by his bedside. That's when I noticed Mac whispering into his phone, scrolling through real estate websites while Dad was unconscious. When I asked what was so urgent, he'd snap about grown-up responsibilities and storm off. I should have known he was planning something horrible. Then Mac cornered me in the hospital cafeteria and destroyed my world. "Jennifer, we need to talk." His face looked different, harder, colder than I'd ever seen. "Is it about Dad?" I asked, my heart racing. "Did the doctors say something? Do we need to call relatives or handle his insurance? Is there something we can do to make him more comfortable?" He slid papers across the sticky table like he was ordering coffee. "I found Dad's will. He left everything to me." The audacity of him discussing money and inheritance while Dad was 3 floors above us, unconscious and fighting for his life, made me sick to my stomach. I was spending every waking moment praying for Dad's survival, and my brother was already planning his funeral. The words hit me like a sledgehammer. Everything to me. My hands started shaking so violently I couldn't hold the papers steady. "That's impossible," I whispered. "Dad promised we'd split everything equally. He told me that 100 times. Mac's face hardened into pure cruelty. "Well, Jennifer, promises aren't legal documents. Maybe you should have paid more attention to business instead of wasting your time with your little teaching career and your classroom full of brats." This wasn't my brother anymore. "I'm selling the house," he continued. "Already have a buyer lined up. Cash offer, $847,000, closing in 10 days. 10 days. While Dad was dying 3 floors above us. "You can't sell Dad's house while he's still alive!" I screamed. Max smirked like he'd just won the lottery. "Actually, I can. Power of attorney, Jennifer. Dad signed it over to me last year, when you were too busy playing teacher to notice he needed help." Every word was designed to destroy me. Our house. Dad's house, where Mom's roses still bloomed every spring, where Dad's workshop still smelled like sawdust and Old Spice, was about to belong to strangers, while Dad was unconscious upstairs fighting for his life. But I wasn't taking this lying down. I tried fighting back the legal way first, and it backfired spectacularly. I called 3 different lawyers, my voice breaking on every phone call. Each one told me the same devastating thing. If Mac had legitimate power of attorney and a valid will, my hands were tied. "But it doesn't feel right," I pleaded with the 3rd attorney, Patricia. "My brother was never interested in the house until Dad got sick. Dad always said we'd share everything." I could hear Dad's voice. "You two are my whole world. Everything I have is yours." "I understand your frustration," Patricia said gently, "but feelings aren't evidence. Without proof of forgery or coercion, there's nothing I can do." Nothing. The word echoed like a death sentence. 3 days before closing, I confronted Mac at the house. Finding him directing strangers through Dad's bedroom was like watching someone desecrate a church. "How can you do this?" I demanded as a woman measured Dad's closet. "Dad's still alive, Mac. He's still fighting, and you're already dividing up his corpse." Mac barely looked up from his clipboard. "Dad's brain dead, Jennifer. The machines are just keeping his body going. It's time to be realistic instead of living in fairy tale land." Fairy tale land, like loving our father was childish. "He squeezed my hand yesterday," I screamed. "He knows I'm there." "Involuntary muscle spasms," Max said with clinical coldness. "Emma and I need this money for the kids' college funds. You'll understand when you grow up and have real responsibilities instead of playing house with other people's children. The buyers, a young couple from California, looked uncomfortable witnessing our family destruction. Don't mind her, Mac told them smoothly, his real estate smile sliding back into place. Family emotions run high, but the sale is completely legitimate. Would you like to see the updated kitchen? Dad renovated that kitchen for us. For family dinners, that would never happen. That night, I sat in Dad's hospital room, holding his hand. The steady beep of machines was the only sound as I whispered desperate promises. I'm going to fix this, Daddy. I don't know how, but I'm going to make this right. I had no idea I was about to discover the ammunition I needed to destroy Mac completely. The breakthrough came from our 78-year-old neighbor, and what she showed me changed everything. Mrs. Randall called to me as I was leaving Dad's house after collecting his clothes. Jennifer, honey, I need to show you something important. It's about your father. She led me inside and pulled out a shoebox filled with documents. Your dad asked me to witness some papers about 2 years ago. He was very specific, said if anything ever happened to him, I should make sure you saw these. Her hands trembled as she handed me a manila envelope. He said your brother didn't know about them. Dad had planned for this. Somehow, he'd known. Inside was a second will, dated 18 months more recent than Mac's version. Everything split equally between Mac and Jennifer, as it should be, but clipped to the back was a letter in Dad's handwriting. If Mac tries to use the old will or sell the house before I'm truly gone, he's going against my explicit wishes and betraying everything I taught him about family. The power of attorney is only for medical decisions if I'm incapacitated, not for selling property. Jennifer, if you're reading this, I'm sorry I had to hide this, but I was worried Mac was changing. Fight for what's yours. You deserve everything I can give you. Love always, Dad. My hands shook so violently I could barely read through my rage. There's more, Mrs. Randall said. She pulled out her phone. I recorded your brother 2 weeks ago when he came asking about the house boundaries. I didn't trust how he was talking. Listen. Mac's voice crackled through the speaker. The old man's as good as dead anyway. His brain is fried. I'm not waiting around for him to actually croak when Emma and I need this money now. Jennifer's too emotional and stupid to make smart financial decisions. She'd probably turn the house into some kind of shrine. Better that it goes to people who can actually use the money responsibly. The hatred in his voice talking about our dying father made me see red, but I wasn't ready to reveal my secret weapons yet. Mac deserved something special, something that would hurt him exactly the way he'd hurt me. And I was starting to suspect there might be even more ammunition hidden in Dad's papers. Little did I know, the best revenge was still coming. I could have stopped the sale immediately. Instead, I decided Mac deserved to feel exactly what he'd put me through. Mac had humiliated me, dismissed my grief, called me stupid while our father was dying, and tried to steal Dad's legacy. He deserved something special. I called Patricia with the new evidence. Her voice went cold and professional when I played the recording. This changes everything. We can file an emergency injunction to stop the sale, and I'll personally make sure the district attorney hears about the fraud charges. Wait, I said, how long before the sale goes through? Closing is in 4 days. Can we stop it the day before? Let him think he's won until the very last second? Patricia was quiet. That's vindictive. He's stealing my dying father's house and calling me too stupid to handle money. Vindictive is exactly what he deserves. Next, I called Emma. Sweet, trusting Emma, who had no idea what her husband had become. Jennifer, how's your dad doing? Her voice was genuinely warm, concerned. Not good. Listen, Emma, did Mac tell you about Dad's will? Oh yes, I'm so sorry, honey. Mac said your dad left everything to him because he's the older son. It seems unfair, but I guess that's how your dad wanted it. Mac had lied to his own wife. Did he mention he's already selling the house? This week? Long pause. What? No, he said you two were going to decide together after your dad passes. Emma, I need you to promise me something. Don't let Mac know I called, but can you ask him about the house sale? Just casually? Jennifer, what's going on? You're scaring me. Just trust me. And Emma, if you can record the conversation, it would help me a lot. Time for the confrontation that would destroy him. The closing was scheduled for 2 p.m. on Friday. I arrived at 1:45 p.m. with Patricia, the real will, Mrs. Randall's recording, and one more surprise. Mac was already there with the buyers. signing papers and making small talk. He looked genuinely happy for the first time in months, practically glowing with victory. Jennifer? His face went from triumph to terror when he saw me walk in with a lawyer. What are you doing here? Stopping a fraud, I said loudly enough for everyone to hear. Patricia placed the new will on the table with nuclear authority. Mr. Williams, I'm attorney Patricia representing Jennifer Williams. This is a cease and desist order preventing the sale of 47 Maple Street along with a valid will that supersedes your document. Mac's confident mask cracked. That's impossible. I have Dad's will right here. You have a will, not the most recent one. I pulled out my phone and hit play. Mac's voice filled the room. The old man's as good as dead anyway. His brain is fried. I'm not waiting around for him to actually croak when Emma and I need this money now. Jennifer's too emotional and stupid to make smart financial decisions. The buyers recoiled like they'd been slapped. Where did you get that? Mac whispered. Our neighbor has been very helpful. Turns out Dad trusted her more than he trusted you. But I wasn't done. Oh, and Mac? I called Emma yesterday. She's very interested to know why you told her Dad left everything to you because of tradition, when you actually forged documents to steal my inheritance. Mac's face went gray. I didn't forge anything. Patricia opened another folder. Actually, we had your will analyzed by a handwriting expert. The signature was traced over an old birthday card. Very sloppy work. That's when Mac realized he was completely screwed. Jennifer, please, he begged, his composure shattered. I can explain everything. Dad would have wanted you to wait until he was actually dead before stealing from him, I interrupted. But since you couldn't wait, let me tell you what's going to happen now. But I wasn't done yet. The criminal charges were just the beginning of Mac's spectacular fall from grace. Within a week, news of Mac's attempted fraud spread through the tight-knit real estate community like wildfire. His agency dropped him immediately. Apparently, forging legal documents was bad for their reputation and their insurance rates. The state real estate board suspended his license pending investigation. 3 previous clients came forward questioning deals he'd handled, wondering if their paperwork was legitimate. Emma filed for divorce after discovering he'd been lying to her about everything, including taking out a second mortgage on their house to cover gambling debts I didn't even know existed. Apparently, my brother had been living a double life for years, but the real justice was still coming. While researching the property records for our case, Patricia found something that made my jaw drop. Dad had quietly paid off Mac's mortgage 2 years ago when Mac was facing foreclosure from his gambling problem. But instead of telling Mac, Dad had the bank transfer the deed directly to him, then set up a fake mortgage payment system where Mac kept sending money to what he thought was still the bank, but it was actually going into a separate account Dad controlled. Your father completely owns your brother's house, Patricia explained, showing me the deed transfer documents. Mac has no idea. He's been paying rent to your dad for 2 years, thinking it was mortgage payments to the bank. Your father was protecting his grandchildren from homelessness while keeping Mac's pride intact. Legally, since you inherit equally, you now own half of Mac's house. And more importantly, you have the right as co-owner to terminate any rental arrangement. Dad had been protecting Mac's family even while Mac was planning to steal from him. I could have been merciful. I could have let Mac continue living there, honored Dad's protective instincts. Instead, I called Mac on a Tuesday morning, exactly 1 month after Dad finally passed away peacefully in his sleep, his hand in mine. Mac, we need to talk about your housing situation. What do you mean? I don't understand. I mean, Dad owned your house, completely. You haven't been paying a mortgage for 2 years. You've been paying rent to Dad. And now that house belongs to me and, well, technically you, but as co-owners, I'm terminating your tenancy. You have 30 days. The silence stretched so long I thought he'd hung up. That's impossible, he whispered. I have a mortgage with First National Bank. I get statements every month. Check again. Really carefully this time. Look at where your payments have been going. I could hear him frantically shuffling through papers, probably pulling out his laptop to check his bank records. No, this can't be right. The payments, they're going to an account called Williams Family Trust. What the hell is the Williams Family Trust? That was Dad's account. Congratulations, Mac. You've been Dad's tenant for 2 years and never knew it. The realization hit him like a freight train. Jennifer, please, he begged, his voice cracking. I know I messed up, but Emma and the kids need stability. The divorce is already hard enough on them. You should have thought about your kids before you tried to steal from your dying father. Mac broke down crying, actual sobbing. Jennifer, I'm sorry, I was desperate. I made terrible choices, but please don't punish my kids for my mistakes. They didn't do anything wrong. You should have thought about your kids before you tried to steal from your dying father. You should have thought about them before you called me too stupid to handle money. You should have thought about them before you gambled away their home. I'll do anything, he begged. I'll sign over my parental rights to the kids if you want. I'll never contact you again. Just please don't make them homeless. The kids will be fine. Emma's moving in with her parents and she's getting child support from your new job at Home Depot. They'll be better off without you. The final twist came at Dad's funeral. Max showed up drunk, stumbling and ranting about how I'd destroyed his life over a stupid house that should have been mine anyway. He made such a scene that Emma's father, a retired police officer with zero patience for Mac's bullshit, physically removed him from the service while my students and fellow teachers watched in horror. Standing at Dad's graveside, listening to my principal give a beautiful eulogy about the man who donated his plumbing services to our school for 15 years, I felt the weight of perfect justice. Mac lost his job, his wife, his house, his kids' respect, his professional reputation, and his entire social circle in one spectacular month of consequences. Dad would have been proud of how I fought for what was right. I kept Dad's house, of course, moved in the week after the funeral and found something that made me cry for an hour. Dad had been secretly renovating the basement as a surprise, turning it into a perfect teacher's office with built-in bookshelves, a reading nook, and space for all my classroom supplies. A note on the workbench read, "For Jennifer, my precious daughter who changes the world one student at a time. I'm so proud of you." He'd been planning this gift even while Mac was planning to steal everything. 6 months later, I'm living in the house that built our family, teaching from Dad's gift office, and watching Mac work as a cashier at Home Depot, the same store where Dad had his heart attack. Every time I drive past on my way to school, he looks away in shame. His hands shake when he handles the register, and his manager told me he calls in sick a lot. Emma and the kids are thriving without him. She got her nursing degree and a great job at the children's hospital. The kids barely mention their father anymore. They call him Mac instead of Dad, and seem relieved not to walk on eggshells around his moods and gambling problems. Some people say I went too far, that family should forgive family. But here's what I learned. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Mac showed me he was willing to forge documents, lie to his wife, steal from our dying father, and call me too stupid to deserve my own inheritance. That's not family. That's a stranger wearing my brother's face. Dad's house is exactly where it belongs, with someone who actually loved him more than money, someone who remembers every sacrifice he made, every lesson he taught, every moment of unconditional love he gave. I miss him every single day, but I know he's proud of me for fighting back. If you love seeing Mac get exactly what he deserved, you'll love this next story that just popped on the screen. But don't forget to like the video and subscribe to this channel first. Trust me, the revenge stories just keep getting better.